Watching Angels baseball in September is proof that you are a real fan, because watching Angels baseball in September, it sucks.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Sorry, Mom, I said sucks. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We've got 5 things to tell you about after watching last night's game, and they're not great. Will the Angels talk about themselves in a positive or a negative light in the offseason? We're going to talk about what they're going to say about this season after this season, and then we're going to share with you what the Angels should say about this season after this season. Before we talk about the Angels, we want to thank our sponsor, Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is Jon, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother Jon.
Hey, we're lifelong fans of this team. Been talking Angels baseball with you for the last 4 years. 5 if you have joined us on the original Super Halo Bros podcast that we did.
Yeah, for those of you that are OGs, let us know. We would love to know if you listened to us when we were the Super Halo Bros and we sounded like we were like on PBS when we did that show.
Oh yeah, exactly. Hey, we're talking Angels baseball with you every single Monday through Friday, and we got to talk about the loss from last night. We're giving you 5 takeaways from the Angels' loss to the Brewers, 9-2. Mike.
Yeah, first takeaway, the Angels placed Zach Neto on the 10-day IL. That's retroactive to September 13th, but that is going to end his season, and Neto's done. After 128 games this season, though, Jon, he achieved a 5 WAR. Last year in 155 games, he achieved a 5.1 WAR, and that's after missing the start of the year and now missing the rest of the season. Johnny had a really good year, 500 plate appearances, 129 hits, 26 home runs, 62 RBIs, a 257 batting average, 319 on base percentage, 474 slug, a 793 OPS with a 116 OPS plus. But there is a question about his health. Now, this is the second year in a row that he has missed some time at the end of the year, and of course missed some time at the beginning of this year where he's been out. He's missed time. He's been injured. So do you have any concerns that Zach Neto is going to be an inconsistent on the field player similar to a Trout? Or do you think that this is just fluke injuries and the dude's going to be playing 150 to 160 games a year?
Yeah, no, I think I have full confidence that he's going to be able to play a full season. Now, he first came up and got hurt that first season as well. Remember, they brought him up for the defense because it stunk. And so he got the call up. And so, then missing the start of this year with the shoulder issue. Mike, when you play the game at 120 miles an hour, you might have a car accident sometimes, right? And that's the way that Zach Neto plays this game. This injury came from that hit by pitch during the Dodgers series that we recently had. And so, there's going to be fluky things. There's going to be times that he does hurt his shoulder sliding into second base. But the other thing is, he learned how to slide feet first, and he's trying to fix those things. So I'm not concerned about the amount of games that Zach Neto plays. Like I said, he plays the game at 120 miles an hour, and he's the only one. I shouldn't say the only one. He's the front and center, the hustle guy out there, and so for him to be hurt at this point of the season, look, I look at a game last night and I go, who cares? Who freaking cares, right? Yeah. Zach Neto's watching Monday Night Football instead of watching his team, right? That's the way I feel about it. But at the end of the day, it does suck to not have him on the field because we need him out there. We need Neto as part of this team. So to really just call his season at this point makes sense. Heal up, get ready for next season. You played your heart out. You had a terrific season, and you repeated what you did last year. And you basically did that again in a shorter amount of time. Keep building on that, man, because you're doing just great out there.
Second takeaway from last night, Jon, Caden Dana has gotten worse as he starts more. So 3 starts ago, he went 5 innings and gave up 2 hits and a run. 2 starts ago, he went 4 2/3, gave up 5 hits and 5 runs. And then last night, 3 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 5 runs. Do you think that this is just a young pitcher figuring some things out, or is this a young pitcher getting figured out?
Well, I think when you think about the fact that he's finally getting some starts and actually getting to go out there against some pretty good teams. I can't blame him for struggling as each start has gone on. So look, he's comes up, goes against the Royals and has a great game. The Royals, their offense has been pretty hit and miss since the beginning of the year. I know that they have been close to playoff contention and the wild card. I think they've kind of fallen out of it since then. And then he goes out there against Minnesota. Mike, Minnesota sold at the deadline, and they're a completely different team. They remind me of what the Diamondbacks did. The Diamondbacks sold at the deadline, and they've replaced everybody they sold with guys that they have waiting in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
They're a pretty good team again. So to go up against the best team in baseball and pitch the way that Caden Dana did. Look, he didn't pitch great. I mean, the walks came back to bite him. He just wasn't hitting the zone. And so for him to get figured out, I don't think is the issue here. I think it's just the best team in baseball took advantage of the mistakes of a 21-year-old. I don't want to put up excuses here because, again, it was the walks that hurt him. It's all that comes back to bite him. And then he gave up a home run to Christian Yelich, which put them up 5-0 at that, or 5-2 at that point. Other than that home run, like he kept the game close, right? And he made a mistake pitch to Christian Yelich that got taken for a ride. So it was hit and miss. It really was for Caden Dana. And I think that the best is yet to come for him. Again, I'm not going to make any excuses for what happened, but at one point it seemed like he was going to walk out of the game, down 3, and Yelich hits that bomb, and the Brewers are the best team in baseball. That's really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Caden Dana and other young Angel pitchers tomorrow. Jon mentioned Jeff Fletcher's article on yesterday's show. We've got that article to share with you on tomorrow's show. Third takeaway, Denzer Guzman hits his first major league home run. We had to find at least one positive from this game last night. It happened in the top of the 5th. Jon, he went 1 for 3 in this game. He now has 3 hits in 3 games played. Looked really good at short, and he's known more for his glove. Won't push Zach Neto aside at shortstop, but no. I wonder if he's somebody that they would consider for third base in 2026. What do you think?
Yeah, they could consider that, and I don't think that you can go into next year as that being the plan, right? Because you already are paying, somebody $36 million to be your third baseman, and if he never sets foot on the field again, then I'm totally okay with that. I don't need to see Rendon. I don't want to watch Rendon. I don't need him, bringing his mopey popey face into the dugout and bringing all these young guys down. And so in that sense, you got to have another plan. And that is, you got to have somebody who can play third base. I thought the Yohan Moncada signing before the season was great because when he's healthy, he's been pretty good this season for the Angels, maybe not defensively, but Guzman could certainly bring the level of defense up over at third base because they really, between Rengifo and Moncada, it's not been that great. And so for Guzman to bring that glove to the third base side, yeah, that intrigues me. And I think that could be something special. I don't know if that's the route that you want to go to start 2026, but it is something to take into consideration as they move forward into next year.
Yeah, fourth takeaway, Jon, another positive from the game last night because we had to find at least 2, right? Christian Moore hit a home run. It's his 6th of the year. And it broke my heart. Here's why it broke my heart. Because this guy got injured at the wrong time. He was really doing well, and it slowed him down. He was coming through clutch in big moments. And I think that that's really what slowed the Angels' momentum, to be honest with you. I think a healthy Christian Moore brings some spice, brings some Red Bull to this team. He's somebody that fires this team up and matches.
This is Diet Coke, by the way, not Red Bull.
He matches the energy of a Zach Neto in that infield. And so I'm really intrigued as to what he might be able to do next year and have a full season under his belt, have a full spring training under his belt. I hope the Angels just say, hey, he's our second baseman in 2026. And they don't try to dance around it and say, well, we have Oswald Peraza. So maybe like they did with Rengifo. I think that they have to stop doing that stuff and they have to really prioritize the young guys that are up and coming on this team.
Yeah. And if they don't prioritize the young guys and, they give the jobs to these fill in the gap kind of guys on the fringes, as somebody in our comments mentioned yesterday on YouTube. But here's the thing, Mike, this leads into the 5th takeaway. I hate September as an Angels fan.
Yeah, right.
It's not fun to watch. It feels like this team gives up way too soon. You put in Sammy Peralta to finish the game, and it feels like you might as well put in a position player because all of a sudden it's 9-2, final score 9-2. And here's the other thing. There's a ton of injuries, and we talked about those, and tons of backup players playing in this game, right? Carter Keyboom, first time he's up with the Angels all season playing first base, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I think that we need to recognize. For as much as we pile on guys like Nolan Shawneewell doesn't have enough power over at first base. Well, look what happens when he's not in the lineup. Look at how crappy this team has been without him in the lineup. Oh, Zach Neto, he hot dogs too much when he tries to make plays at shortstop. Well, look what happens when Zach Neto is not in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
Like give me a break on some of this stuff. And then to have your regulars like Trout and Ward and Joe Adell and now Hoppy's back and what? Nada, nothing, zilch, right? And I know they're going up against Freddie Peralta. Oh, by the way, who had a season high 10 strikeouts against the Angels.
That's an automatic
Tuesday night, right? Another pitcher setting a season high strikeout number against the Angels. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So it boggles my mind how this can be a problem on September 15th, yesterday, or I'm sorry, September 16th, yesterday, how that can be a problem when it's been a problem all season long. If somebody doesn't get fired, I am going to lose my crap. I'm going to lose my crap on the show. I'm going to lose my crap on social media. You're going to be embarrassed to be my brother because of the things that I'm going to say. It's asinine, Mike. And that key word, the first syllable in that word, asinine, right? That's what this is. And it's so frustrating that we're still doing the same thing we've been doing since March.
Yeah.
Give me a freaking break, right?
Yep.
Figure out your swing, Trout. Somebody in the comments yesterday said, I looked at Trout in 2019, had a much quieter stance up there. Right. So one of our everydayers can see that and go, look, Trout's doing something a whole lot different than he did in 2019. Oh, when he was the MVP the last time, right? And it's just like, hello, do we have the blind leading the blind in this organization? Does the coaching staff do anything? Do they just sit there and go, hey, I'm Ryan Goins and I'm the fill-in bench coach now because I was the fielding coach and, except Ron Washington did my job for me and and now Ron's out. Like, who's running things?
Yeah.
Who's in charge here?
Yeah.
Nobody. There's no leadership. There's no coaching.
Problem.
There's no management. There's nothing.
That's the problem.
So as apologetic as you and I have been for Perry Manassian and drafting guys and actually trying to work within Artie Moreno's playhouse, like Pee-wee's playhouse, say the secret word. Oh, making money, coming up even at the end of the season. That's Artie's secret word. And for Perry Manassian to be in charge of all this, sorry, bro. In my eyes, you're gone. Like I have defended you. I've had conversations on Reddit and Twitter and all this stuff about like, well, he's doing a good job within Artie's playhouse and Artie's swimming pool and Artie's sandbox. And we've talked ad nauseum about that, Mike. I'm done. I'm ready. Clear the whole deck. Change the captains and turn this ship overboard because it's not working. What we're doing on September 16th, we were doing at the beginning of this season, and Johnny Washington just says, you got to get that ball, you got to get that pitch, you got to get that hit, you got to end the at bat. Stop. I'm done. I'm done. This is ridiculous. I didn't expect to go into this rant, but at the end of the day, this is stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Yeah. I hate it.
Well, and you said who's in charge? Well, Ray Montgomery is, and he has not motivated this team to do anything. He has not motivated this team to get excited about anything. And I get that they're not playing for anything. And they're showing it. They are showing it, right? And that's the thing. I'm watching the game last night, and as I get ready to turn it off, I'm watching Taylor Ward at the plate. He's sitting there like this. And for those on the audio side, it's him making duck lips. Like he's just like they're just showing up, they're clocking in, and then they're clocking out. And that's on them. They're major league players. They need to figure that out. But it's also this is the clubhouse Ray Montgomery has created. And so if he even has a seat on this bench in 2026, that will really irritate me as well, because that guy has shown that he has no ability to lead anybody anywhere.
No. And oh, hey, Ron Washington, he's in Milwaukee with the team. He's going to be with it. Who cares? What's he doing? Is he hanging out? Is he having chicken wings like he did when we found out he had a heart issue? He's up there hanging out with Perry, having chicken wings. That's not good for your heart, buddy. You shouldn't have any of that chicken. Like, good grief. What are you doing? And now he's hanging out in the dugout. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? I don't want him back. I don't want Ray Montgomery back. I don't want Perry Manassian back. And I know we have to deal with Artie Moreno, and everyone's going to comment and say, well, nothing changes until Artie leaves. Fine. That's the truth. But at the end of the day, none of these guys are doing the dang job either. So cut them all, start over, start from scratch. I'm done with this. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Didn't know that I was going to get fired up about that, but coming up, what are the Angels? Oh boy, what are the Angels going to say after this season
You're
comes
need to take
an
a
end?
nitro.
A little nitroglycerin pill. I gotta take some chamomile and some that stuff that puts you to sleep, right?
Yeah.
All right. What are they going to say when the season is over? Well, Mike and I are going to predict what they're going to say, and we'll get into that in just a minute.
Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I, we make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. That's great, right?
The over or under on 1.5 John rants on Locked On Angels tomorrow. Let's just make that a prize pick.
From now on, I'm going over. It has to be, right? And that's what you can do on Prize Picks. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your real takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. And here's how it works. They give a stat. And for example, it says Josh Allen for 270.5 passing yards. You can say, I think he's going to go lower than that this weekend or higher than that this weekend. They do it for rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns. They do it for field goals. It's super easy. So, you know sports, so you should download the Prize Pick app right now and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So you pay $5, play your first lineup, then you're going to get $50 for free. So you get your money back plus another $45. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On John rants about the Angels your first listen of the day. We love that you get into our comments on YouTube, especially if you haven't done so yet. We encourage you to come on over to YouTube, find today's show, get in the comment section. So many great comments of people sharing their memories of being an Angel fan. That was a lot of fun. Still working on trying to get back to everybody because there was like 100 comments, I think. So I'm going to try to get back and respond to everybody. And Mike gets in there too. I'm not doing all the heavy lifting there, but check us out wherever you're listening to podcasts. If you're watching or listening, come on over to YouTube, get in the comment section, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. And hit us up on social media at Locked On Angels, at Super Halo Bros, if you want to continue the discussion there. Mike, the Angels after this season are going to come forward, and we're going to hear from Perry Manassian, and we're going to hear from somebody in the front office, and we're going to hear the things that we always hear from this team. And then we're going to hear some things that are rather predictable. Why don't you start us with the thing that they are going to say?
Yeah, so we got 5 things that the Angels are going to say about this season after this season. These are the things that we are predicting. Got our crystal ball out, got our 8 ball out, right? These are the things we're predicting that they're going to say. So first thing that the Angels will say is this: we're moving forward. We're moving forward. And here's what that means: that we're not getting into the details of last season. We're not talking about it. It's over. We're going to go to counseling. And when it comes up, we're going to say, sorry, we're not talking about that, right? That's exactly what they're going to do about this season after this season. They're going to say they're prioritizing 2026, and they're prioritizing, and you're going to hear some version of this, they're prioritizing building a competitive team.
We plan to be competitive in 2026. So we want to be competitive.
Yep. Building a competitive team. We're going to do that. We're, hey, that's past. And it was tough. That's what you're going to hear.
In that Brewers game, until Caden Dana gave up that home run, we were right there in that game. Yep. And, against the Dodgers, we swept the Dodgers. We were right there in those games. Who cares? Didn't matter, right? What's your win and loss record? Did you make the playoffs? No, you didn't.
No.
That's not competitive. That's just, you got hot right at the right time.
Yeah.
For 3 games here, a game there. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why you're going to hear, we're moving forward. That's
forward.
That's the first thing you're going to hear this offseason about this season from the Angels.
Second thing that they're going to say is the young core is the future. And what they mean by that is we're excited about how the young guys took the next step. And they're going to talk about how this young core is hungry and wants to win. And that's something that I would agree with. If they came out and said that, and whoever's going to represent this team and have this press conference, this hypothetical press conference, and that's what they say, that's something that I agree with. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to exhaust this young core because they're not going to have the supporting cast around them. They're going to exhaust this young core because they're going to be tired of losing. And then somebody like Zach Neto is going to look over at the Phillies and be like, man, that would be a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Third thing that they're going to say is the injuries slowed us down, but they didn't stop us. Meaning that we would have been a lot more competitive, there's our favorite word, if it wasn't for those energies. They expect a lot of, well, if healthy talk. That's going to be the predominant conversation all offseason, and it's going to come from the Angels organization. It'll probably come from the TV side and the radio side as well. Yeah, if they were healthy, if Moncada was healthy, and they're not, here's the thing, they're not going to be wrong, but that's always the narrative.
Isn't that what it is? It's not technically wrong.
Yes.
Like it's still a truth.
Yes.
But it's not the whole truth.
Yep.
That's what it feels like with this team. That's what it feels like with the messaging from this front office. It's like a white lie almost, right?
Yep.
I'll give you the partial truth and leave out the important part that might hurt your feelings or it might, lead you to a confrontation or whatever, but it feels like a white lie and a partial truth.
It's called sweet rebellion. You're not completely rebellious. You're just doing it in a sweet sort of way, right? You like
That's
that?
the name of my emo band I'm going to start
I am Tom Cruise, and I want the truth. That's what I want from this team, right? So that's the third thing that they're going to say. Injury slowed us, but they didn't stop us.
If Mike Trout's knee didn't get hurt, I mean, we probably would have seen Mike Trout, never mind that the mechanics of his swing are, way out of control and he's not doing anything that he used to do, but there's that knee. It's been hurting him. And that if he'd just not hurt it, he'd be playing right field and he'd be a Gold Glover. He'd probably hit 60 home runs, Mike. That's what we're going to hear.
Yeah.
Fourth thing that they're going to say is we're building a new culture. And what they're going to mean by that is that they are not what they used to be. And they're going to talk about accountability. They're going to talk about energy. They're going to talk about changing the expectations in the clubhouse. I think that's been there. I think that's, got started last year with Ron Washington. The only thing that I disagree with there is that at the beginning of the season, he said, if you're not going to play your part and play your role and do the things you need to do, you're not going to be part of this team. Well, he made a lot of exceptions to that rule last year. I think he made more exceptions to that rule this year in terms of pitching, in terms of bullpen guys, but also, and I don't mean this with any cruel intention, Ron's heart wasn't in it because he had the heart condition, right?
Yeah.
And so I just don't think that we got the Ron Washington that we expected or hoped for that kind of helped this team last year find a direction. I don't think he was present. I don't think his mind was present for the beginning of this season. And so, they're trying to build a new culture. And we'll know if that's true if they do something with Rendon. Yeah. Because you can't bring that cancerous culture killer Anthony Rendon back into this organization. I know he's still on the payroll. He's still on the roster. He's on the 60-day IL, so he's not technically on the 40-man. But the fact is, you cannot bring that man back into your clubhouse. And honestly, if they want to change the culture, then they need to get Torrey Hunter. I'm subscribing to that. I'm not changing my mind about that.
Yeah. Fifth thing they're going to say is we're not there yet, but we're closer, meaning we know we didn't make the playoffs, and here's why. And they're going to give a lot of reasons as to why. And they're all going to be kind of true. They're all going to be kind of true, but it's not going to be what the truth actually tells you. It's not going to be about the roots. It's not going to be about the core. It's not going to be about what's the thing beneath the thing. And that's that's the struggle of being an Angel fan. When you hear them talk, they don't talk about the thing beneath the thing. They just talk about like, well, here's why the leaves died. Right? They don't talk about how somebody wasn't watering the roots. They just talk about, the leaves died. And the reason why they died is chlorophyll didn't work and they needed some water. And they go into just diatribes.
But there were some leaves that stayed green though and didn't die.
Yes,
and they hung on.
Bait and switch, right? and that's what a lot of this has to do is they're going to talk about the progress. They're going to talk about how close they were. And then the injury bug got us. The injury bug got us at the end. That's why we didn't decide to sell. It's why we got some players. That injury bug, they're gonna go back to that. So the fifth thing that they're gonna say this offseason is something along the lines of, we're not there yet, but we're closer.
Right. And I can think of 5 things that I want to say to them, but I don't think I can repeat that on the show because mom watches, right?
Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what their worth is. It's 401ks and properties and investments. They're not sure what's going on there. They don't have the full picture, and that's why you need Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life all together in one place. One clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people like you with busy lives who need help managing their resources. And if you've put off organizing your finances, right now, Monarch is for you. They're going to do the heavy lifting. They're going to link all your accounts in minutes. You're going to see clear data visuals. You're never going to have to touch a spreadsheet. That's the best part about it. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser or on your phone. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Now, there's nothing like catching game live, especially with the playoffs coming up. It's going to be really intense, a fun atmosphere. Certainly with the Angels not in the playoffs, you're going to have to find another team to go to, but it's going to be a lot of fun regardless. If you've never been to a playoff game, use Game Time to get there, and they'll make it easy for you. You can avoid the queues, the login screens, the surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. But with Game Time, the app gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy. It's backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price possible. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. It's faster, cheaper, less stressful than any other way that you can buy tickets. They'll even let you see the shows you want to see, like Dramarama. You can go to shows, you can go to concerts, all that stuff on Game Time. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That Dramarama reference was for you, Michael. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
This is the most important conversation of the show, and it's what the Angels should say. Jon and I have decided that this is what they should say to you, me, when they have that press conference as they talk about the season. First thing that they need to say, and I'm a broken record, but I'm going to keep hitting this, Jon. They need to share the strategy. What are they doing to build this team? If it's through the draft, then tell us that. If it's by staying underneath a financial number, then tell us that. And I know that we've had some people be like, why do they got to tell you? They can do whatever they want. Listen, I pay the bills.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
Kidding. Yeah,
I'm paying for this. And
we generate more interest with this. How many people have told us, "Hey, I'm done watching the Angels. I'm here for you guys."
Yep.
Like we're doing more heavy lifting for this team than they do.
Right. And because I'm a fan, you're a fan, and everydayers are fans, we're paying the bills, and we love this team. So can you give us a freaking clue as to what you're doing? And I don't mean bait and switch. I don't mean like sharing surfacey. I don't need any of that nonsense. We can see through it, and you haven't won anybody over. You have not endeared yourself to this fan base, Perry Minasian, Artie Moreno, Tim Carpino, anybody. So please share the strategy. What are you doing? Are you building through the draft? And that's why. Is Tyler Bremner going to be the guy? I get that you're like, I don't want to think that far ahead. Stop it. You've thought that far ahead. If you haven't, you deserve to be fired right now. If you haven't thought about what you're doing with that kid, if you haven't thought about 2026, if you haven't thought about these team and the players that you're going to build around that, then stop it. Get out of here. You need to have 6 months to a year plan. You need to have a plan laid out in front of you. If I do that in my real job, I'm 6 months ahead, and I have a church. I'm not even an organization that's worth millions and millions of dollars. So Angels, Perry Minasian, you should share the strategy with us, and you should be clear about it, because you will win Angel fans over if you were clear about the strategy. Even if you said, yeah, we're trying to stay underneath the luxury tax because we don't want to pay the extra tax, we would go, okay, great. Okay, I get that. Then we would have different expectations than the stupid expectations you throw out there and never meet.
When I was a high school English teacher, I had my curriculum set for the year. Now, I didn't have every single individual day, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There was a teacher who did have that because he was a teacher for like 40 years. And so he could tell you the day, the date, and the time that he was going to teach a specific lesson. But if you have a general idea of where you're headed, I think that's super important. That's super crucial. But also, Mike, speaking of that, they need to share their goal.
Yeah.
And when I say their goal, I don't mean what they hope the goal is. Oh, we want to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because when they say we want to be competitive and make a run, but we need to ask a lot from our young players and we didn't support them from with the veterans that we signed, right? Like there are times this season where it was like, yeah, all the young guys did the heavy lifting in this one, but the veterans didn't do nothing. They need to make sure that they make it clear that our goal is to be competitive, make a run for the playoffs, and support our young core. Because like we said in the last segment, what they're going to come out and say is, yeah, we really like this young core. We're really excited about the steps they took forward. Fine. Then do something to support that. Yeah. Get veterans here. Get some starting pitching to help out. Because we all know that for as much as the hitting went quiet and cold and awful this season, there were moments where the pitchers gave away 7 runs in a start, right? And so you can't have that. And even guys like Soriano and Kikuchi still back and forth, still doing that kind of stuff at times this season. So nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect in this rotation. And so they certainly have room to improve. What they need to do is tell us the goal, then show us that you're working towards that goal. Prove it to us and show us and demonstrate that you're here to support the young core on this team. Otherwise, they're going to get tired of you and your fans are going to get tired of you as well.
Speaking of fans, John, they should share an apology. They should tell the fans they're sorry. They should say, I'm sorry for 10 years of losing. I'm sorry for 11 years of no playoffs. Right. I'm sorry for not being good. And if they don't want to say sorry, then say thank you. Hey, thank you for sticking with this team through 10 years of not winning and 11 years of not playoffs. Thank you they should acknowledge what the fans have done. They should acknowledge what our everydayers have done. They should acknowledge that these fans have put up with a lot of nonsense. They should acknowledge the Halo boys, the Angels in the outfield and say, thank you for doing that, even though we suck. Thank you for doing that, even though we're bad. They should acknowledge that. They don't acknowledge that. They'll say, hey, thanks, and have like the last game of the year kind of thank you day and then limit the crap that they give out. Like that's I'm done with that.
You want a team photo?
Right. I'm done with that. All the guys that we should have traded that are still on the team, you want that photo? And that what they need to do this offseason is they need to say sorry or they need to say thank you. And then they need to acknowledge it's been terrible. And there should not be any sort of shifting or any sort of bait and switch or any sort of, hey, don't look at this, watch this. It should be, yeah, man, 10 years. That sucks. Angel fans, thanks for staying with us. 11 years, no playoffs. Angel fans, thanks for staying with us. Like, we really appreciate that. And we are working really hard. Here's the goal. Here's the strategy. That's what they need to do. You're muted.
And they owe us all an apology, and not just you and me and our everydayers, but every single Angel fan out there. And here's something that I want to caution everybody. When they put that final thank you fans graphic up on their social media, don't attack the social media person behind that. It's not their fault, right? It's not the person in charge of that. So be kind, be gentle, direct all your feedback to, here's what I'll say, CC Artie Moreno, Perry Manassian, Ray Montgomery. Make sure that they are receiving the message and not the poor person who runs the social media for the Angels, because they're a very good person.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB. Game night, every game, every night until the World Series champion is crowned, and it's not going to be the Angels. Let's get local analysis on a national scale. You can find Game Night on the Locked On MLB YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, be sure you give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram, whether you're watching or listening. Find today's show on YouTube. Get in that comment section because I want to hear you rant just the way that I did, Mike. What do we have on deck for Thursday's show?
What are the scouts saying about the young pitchers? There's a great article. You brought it up on yesterday's show. Jeff Fletcher did some digging. We're going to share what he found, and then we're going to talk about if we even agree with it tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right. Looking forward to that conversation, and we hope you'll come back and join us. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.
I haven't laughed so much on a show until this show. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad my anger can be comedic.